Hello, hello. So today we're going to be talking to some student ambassadors who are just joining me now. And the concept of today's session is that we're going to find out really what those student ambassadors are really thinking, and actually hearing from people who've been there and through it and have experience of being buddies on the platform. So I'm joined today by two current ambassadors and one former ambassador. So I'll allow you to introduce yourself. Brandon, if you'd like to begin.
Hello everyone, it's quite weird I can't see anyone, but my name is Brandon. I've recently just graduated from NTU and I was a member of Unibuddy for a couple of months, I don't know how long.
Fantastic. And Sri, if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Sri. I'm from University of South Wales. I've been an Unibuddy ambassador for around 1 year now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And Robert, if you'd like to introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Robert. I'm an economics undergrad at Glasgow University, and I started being a Unibuddy a few months ago, the start of the semester.
Fantastic. And we can see you're on campus there today, Robert, are you?
Yeah.
I can tell by the mask.
hiding the mask.
Yeah. It's just part of everyday life now, isn't it? I feel like we've got used to seeing people wearing masks, just walking around, doing their daily business. But fantastic. Well, thank you for introducing yourselves. I've just realised in all of that, I haven't even introduced who I am. So I'm Georgia, and I am a customer success executive at Unibuddy, and I run the student ambassador training and some of the new workshops that we're working on for student ambassadors as well. But I've got a few questions to kind of interview, kind of get everyone's opinions on. So what we'll do is, if we kind of just go around in that order, if everybody's happy to do that. So I'll ask the question, and then Brandon, you can give your responses from your perspective, then Sri, and then Robert would be fantastic. So I think my first question really is, how did you become an ambassador? Did you have to apply? Were you chosen? How did that look for you personally?
So I think it was obviously quite a while ago. I'm trying to remember. I think I had to apply. I believe it was through Uni Temps. I think it was one of the opportunities that they were just saying that they needed some people to represent the university. And obviously I like talking to people. So I was like, actually, I might as well just apply and see if I can sort of pass advice on. So yeah, I think I applied rather than being approached to apply.
Wonderful. And Sri, what about you? What's your story of joining Unibuddy as an ambassador?
So I was already a student ambassador of the uni. When they introduced the Unibuddy, they asked me if I would like to be a Unibuddy ambassador and chat with students online. So yeah, I was more than happy to do that, and I just love it now. That was a very good decision that I took.
Ours were advertised at the start of like lectures and things, and then it was also on the university website. So you just essentially filled out a form, then you attended a training session, went into some breakout rooms with sort of like-minded people who were also applying for the program. And then after that, it was just signed a sort of code of conduct agreement, and then you were given access to the platform.
Fantastic. So it's quite interesting to hear you've all had quite varied responses there. There's kind of no one route into becoming a Unibuddy ambassador. Of course, you made an application, but also kind of different interview processes there, and also just transitioning from actually an in-person ambassador to that virtual landscape. So that's really interesting. And there's no right or wrong way really to become an ambassador. So my second question, thinking again to that kind of initial interview process and when you were making that application probably, is what qualities do you think make a good ambassador? What were the qualities that you really spoke about in your application to become an ambassador?
Me again? I mean, the number one is probably just having confidence in yourself. Obviously, not everyone knows everything about everything, but from what you know as a student, you can then pass just that little bit of knowledge, and that could be the answer to someone's complete list of questions. So I think just having confidence in what you know might seem little to you, but it might seem a lot to someone else. And just, I think the only other one was just obviously being open-minded, going in, not really knowing what to expect, who you're going to meet, who you might like get questions and queries from. So just sort of being open-minded and yeah, ready to help as and when you could help.
So for me, being proactive is very important. Being able to communicate with students on a student level in an informal way is important. Just consider it like you're talking to your colleagues, your student, your classmates. It's not like you're talking to some CEOs or something. Just be informal and be very confident. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I think I echo both the points that Sri and Brandon have made there. The only thing I think I'd potentially add would be there are some things that as a uni buddy we maybe don't know. For example, if say someone's from another country and they do some sort of qualification that we've never heard of before, you're probably best to just know when to refer people to say the recruitment team or the admissions, just so they can give them the perfect answer rather than just what you thought you could get from the website.
Wonderful. I like that. So kind of open-mindedness, willingness to kind of be able to talk to anybody about anything, but also knowing your limits and knowing the kind of limitations of your own knowledge and when to redirect it and when to really pass it on to somebody else who knows more about that particular subject. But also that confidence that you spoke about, I think, having confidence in your own experiences and what you do already know, when you're talking about student life, you lot are experts in student life. So feeling confident within that. And I think if you took everything that you mentioned there, put it all into a potion, that would be the perfect Unibuddy ambassador. So I love that. That's fantastic. How have you found the past year and the complete switch to digital? So obviously, speaking maybe from experience, Street, obviously you began actually as an in-person ambassador. So how has that switched to virtual? Some of you may have only used the virtual landscape, but in your own experience, how have you found that complete switch to virtual? So starting again with Brandon and then going around Sri and Robert. Fantastic.
So I think I've only been a uni buddy as like remotely, because I was a student mentor, again, similar to what Sri said. I was already like an ambassador for universities. This is sort of like an extra role. So I think for me, it's not really changed that much, because obviously I was doing everything online. I like to think of it as almost just like WhatsApp, but obviously it's in a professional capacity where it's literally just prospective students asking questions and that sort of thing. So I think for me personally, it's not really changed that much. I think if anything, it's made it easier, because it means instead of people maybe having to travel over from wherever they're wanting to come to, just have a look on the website, send a quick message if they want to confirm a few things. And then obviously we're here to sort of say, well, to sort of give them the answers rather than them having to travel on a plane all the way here to then find out actually it's not for them to go all the way back, or to then find out and go all the way back anyway. So it saves them time. It allows us to sort of like everyone sort of said, use what we already know as students and graduates, sort of give people advice like quickly.
For me, the transition has been uncomfortable, I will say, because the on-campus ambassador, connecting events, meeting so many different people from different countries, it has been really good. And then all of a sudden I'm here just virtually chatting with the students. I just know the name, I don't know how they look, I don't know where they're from. So it has been different, but I actually like the change. Chatting with someone you don't know and just with the exchange of messages, knowing people is really nice, and understanding the concerns more, it has been really good.
I think I sort of echo again what like Shri was saying. I think for the whole university community, as well as just people who are ambassadors, there's just been like a massive change. People at university usually meet up in hundreds, even not thousands of people. And now it's just down to like, oh, you can maybe meet two if Boris is feeling nice. And yeah, I think, but then the powerfulness of platforms like Unibuddy has really like shown through, and it's showed that even like universities with examinations and things, as well as marketing and recruitment, has just been like online stuff is really powerful.
Fantastic. I think that's really interesting, actually, talking about that accessibility aspect from you, Brandon, where you were saying, you can talk to people who maybe would have thought, oh, I need to go and visit the university. Well, now that's completely out of their hands. So actually, it's almost leveled the playing field a bit to say, actually, everyone has to interact virtually. And I think also, Sri, what was interesting, you were talking about kind of actually it's not all positive, and it's not all positive, and there are that negative aspects that you can't have that human connection talking to somebody. But then also interestingly, you were talking about actually you can only see a name and no face. I wonder if that removes almost a little bit of bias that we might have, like hidden bias we don't even realize that we have. So I think that could be interesting as well, that actually that identity is completely stripped and you're just talking to everybody exactly the same. And then Robert, yeah, exactly, talking about, you know, how that virtual landscape is just, again, just leveling that playing field and really allowing those one-to-one chats. And I think also on those open days, you know, sometimes you'll have loads and loads of applicants, loads of prospective students, and you don't get an opportunity to talk to everybody because there's so many of them. And actually on Unibuddy, they can message you directly and get their questions across rather than having to be the loudest voice in the room or the person that pushes to the front. So fantastic. Thank you for sharing those experiences. So talking obviously at the start, we mentioned about the qualities that you think make a good ambassador. So what would you need before becoming ambassador? But since being an ambassador, what kind of skills do you think you've developed?
I think time management, probably the number one. So obviously not just for Unibuddy, but also throughout the university experience, sort of managing my time of doing work, being a Unibuddy, doing like everything else before the pandemic hit, but still managing to do stuff even when the pandemic hit. But yeah, I think specifically with Unibuddy, just knowing, like giving people the opportunity to reply back to you, because I think one of the things that I had in one of my induction sessions, it was sort of like, you can message someone, they'll reply back, but when you message back, try and end it with a question. So it sort of then allows the conversation to sort of continue rather than sort of you them replying and then it's sort of going silent. But then, yeah, just sort of continuing to be that positive, not too forward, but I've answered your query, but if you need anything else, like give me a shout, or well, not give me a shout, but like message me. So yeah, I think that was one of the number one things, like being able to manage time. But again, like what you just said, Georgia, in terms of the not being biased thing, seeing a name and just assuming that that person's doing a particular course, or assuming that maybe they can't speak English or that sort of thing. So just treating every single person as a person, as opposed to just, oh, I'll leave that one, like they've taken ages to reply, I'll message. Like I'd want to be proactive with every single one. Like even if I know that they're a slow reply, I will still want to message them straight away to sort of help them. They might just be getting used to the program as well. So yeah, so time management and yeah, not being biased. They were the main two.
I completely agree with Brandon. Time management is something that I feel all ambassadors have learned by now. One thing I'd like to add is that I've started putting myself in their shoes to understand their concerns and to answer those, not on a professional level, but on a student level. So making them comfortable, making them understand how uni life is, how it is financially, or whatever their concerns are, not to to make them understand that there's nothing to worry about. So that has been a convincing style of conversation, has what I've learned.
I think communication definitely is one of the big ones. If it's not even just from the chats, even the blog function that you've also got as well, where you can talk to like loads of students who are looking at student life or your university more specifically. And then another one that I think it's been quite difficult to get experience with over the past few months or year, I think it's almost a year now, is probably teamwork. Glasgow's set up a Facebook page that has all the uni buddies in it. So if there is something that you weren't entirely too sure about, you can just reach out and communicate with them and formulate some sort of answer for the student, which I think is just cool to get some teamwork experience, especially in the current circumstances.
That's really interesting, talking about teamwork in the digital age, because obviously as you lot kind of move into the workplace, move into the workforce, I imagine a lot of things probably will be shifting to virtual, and actually developing those virtual skills and being able to work online. For instance, you know, at Unibuddy, we use things like Slack, where we'll message each other and we actually collaborate virtually. So actually having practice of that, being a Unibuddy in your Facebook group, for instance, or whatever the other universities do as well. I think that's really valuable, actually, being able to act as a team, but even when you're not in the same room or even on the same campus, or necessarily in the same county. So I think that's really interesting. And obviously also talking about the communication that you've developed, the communication skills, talking about being very personable, can be really valuable, and all of these transferable skills, time management, that you kind of move on into the workplace. I think fantastic. Thank you for that. And what's been your favourite part of being an ambassador? I know it obviously varies for all of you around how long you've been an ambassador, and also, you know, being an ambassador virtually or in person. But what's been your favourite part, either on Unibuddy or in person?
So yeah, obviously I've only done the Unibuddy like remotely. Again, I think for me it's people having that confidence. Apologies if you can hear some like gardening in the background. Yeah, I think it was just the confidence of people messaging and sort of going, oh, this seems like someone that, I don't know, that I could sort of go to. It could be, it could have been someone that wanted to potentially study my course, or that my profile looked friendly. So yeah, just that initial confidence of people reaching out. But then actually, I've actually made quite a few friends. I've made friends with 2 people from there. So obviously they're like 2 years below, or like just about to start their first year or second year now. But yeah, I think one of them ended up coming and doing a master's. And we pretty much now talk. He's gone back home to India, but we still talk on like Snapchat or something. But yeah, I was just sort of going to echo what I think everyone sort of mentioned it in terms of the using that like platforms and developing the virtual skills, because obviously it's assumed and obviously stereotyped that the young people and the uni students, we're the sort of generation that are pretty much always online. So if we can utilize that to our advantage, then just sort of, I don't know, seeing what celebrities having a kid next, but actually use it to like help in the workplace, then yeah, it's a bonus for us. But yeah, so that'll be my best things.
For me, it's just understanding different cultures. I've spoken with students from different parts of the world. It's been amazing. It's also that I just didn't understand the level of conversations that we are having, the level of confidence that we have on each other, even though we didn't know each other personally. The trust, the kind of trust, it has been really good. And I never felt virtuality is something bad. I've really learned a lot.
I've been at Glasgow for 2 years, and there's questions that people ask me that I don't particularly have a clue about. And then when I go and look into these things, for example, one of them was asking me quite a lot about the career service. And then I went and had a look, and well, Glasgow has some like really cool stuff there. So just actually learning things I didn't even know existed from seeing what prospective students are interested in. And then obviously, post-coronavirus, so it'll be really cool to meet all the other uni buddies. I think Glasgow mentioned that they have like 160. So if you go to meet up with them, that's going to be a rather large social.
I love that. I think generally it's resonated from all of you that you love the human aspect of it, and the fact that you're making connections either with those prospective students or with other uni buddies. And that's nice to hear. And I think that's probably one of the most important things about Unibuddy, is that it's authentic human connection. Even though it is in a virtual landscape, it is all about that connection, all about the relationships that you're building. And it's nice to see that actually there's a sense of confidence there, that actually, it feels nice when somebody wants to come and talk to you. It's kind of a bit of a confidence boost, a bit of an ego boost to a degree, to think that person's chosen to come and talk to me, and they really value my advice and they value my experience. And so you were talking about that trust, and I think it's a nice feeling to feel trusted in the fact that what you're saying is really impacting that person, and that you might make their future choice. That what you're telling them might make a choice in their future, and actually they might come to study with you and go on into certain careers. So fantastic. Another question. So what advice would you give somebody who is thinking of becoming a Unibuddy ambassador or has just started? So you've spoken about what you love about it, but actually if you had to give maybe a few pieces of advice to somebody who's just starting out, has never been a Unibuddy ambassador before, what would your key advice pieces be?
So I know I said before about the being confident, being proactive, those sorts of things, but I think obviously that's helpful, but I think one of the ones that I don't think a lot of people really, I think it's just more something that people do rather than think about, is sort of saying yes to things. So I don't know, like saying yes to any sort of opportunities. So for example, if you talk to a prospective student and they say, oh, do you know about XYZ? And maybe you don't, sort of just going, yes, I'll do like a bit of research for you or something like that. Like, I think actually it takes you away from your course. So you can sort of like, it's almost like you're just like everyone was sort of saying, it's not like you're just talking to a friend or a colleague or just family member or something like that. So just actually taking 5 minutes to have a look at like the rock venues or the nightclubs, or I don't know, the local shopping centres in a specific part of town that you've never been to before, just doing that for 5 minutes. Again, it's sort of like what I said before, although to you it was only a 5-minute thing, they might not, I don't know, have access to different websites, or again, there might be that sort of language barrier that it's easier for you to just sort of send them links rather than them having to look through millions of different websites. And yeah, so I think that was sort of one, just trying to say yes, sort of, again, trying not to end the conversation with, sorry, I can't really help you, because then they'll end up having to go to someone else. And then, so yeah, I sort of, yeah, so trying to say yes to things. Again, obviously that sort of leads into the being proactive thing. And what other skills? I don't know, people that, again, sort of what Robert said about the Facebook group that they've got in Glasgow, sort of connecting with maybe some of the other uni buddies. So if they might have any tips or tricks, or because we had that at NTU as well, not a Facebook group, we had like a little WhatsApp group of a few of us, and it was just sort of like, oh, hi, I've got a student that wants to study this course that is from this country, and they want advice on this, that, and the other. So we might have, I don't know, an Italian uni buddy that could maybe, I don't know, send us something in Italian for us to then translate, and I don't know, or they might have an Italian cafe recommendation or something. So sort of utilizing the uni buddy contacts, trying to say yes as opposed to leaving them at like a dead end. And then, yeah, just trying to be proactive and help in any way you can. Because like I said, you don't know everything, but you can help with what you do know about, or where you can get contacts to help you about. Anyway, that's enough.
So what you have to understand is prospective students have many questions. Sometimes it becomes overwhelming. So you need to have patience. You need to be able to answer all the questions. One more thing is that you have to know your limits. You can't answer every question. You will have to be able to say that I don't know this particular answer, so I will divert you to the correct team. So that's where you have to set your boundaries. And also, one thing that Georgia has told us in the training initially was that if you're uncomfortable with someone, you can block them. You don't have to continue to talk to them because you're an ambassador. It's nothing like that. If you're uncomfortable, you can go ahead and block them and stop the conversation right there. They won't be able to contact you again.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of those points. Brendan's yes attitude, I think you can really help students through that, but then also you can almost help yourself. Like you'll get a lot of opportunities from the marketing team or whoever runs the Uni Buddy program, even like this one, like being able to talk to quite a lot of people here today. And then I completely agree with what Sri said about ask for help if you need help, and you can talk to either your other uni buddies to get those answers or to your marketing team.
Fantastic. So it sounds like do a lot of research is kind of the general gist, is the fact that say yes as much as possible, do your research, try as best as you can to get those answers. And if you can't, then there's no harm in saying, I'm not sure, here's a link to whoever. And I think also saying yes to opportunities, I think you were getting there as well, Robert, was, saying yes to all those opportunities that come about. And but also, Shri, coming back to that point of, if you ever feel uncomfortable on the platform, if somebody's sending you spam, if somebody's sending you horrible, nasty messages, you don't need to put up with that. Just because you're an ambassador, if somebody was shouting in your face, you wouldn't just stand there and just accept it and say, oh, well, I'm an ambassador. So, report it to those people, those administrators. And if you ever do have an issue there, and those tools are there for you to use if you do feel uncomfortable, you feel that somebody's being threatening or something in any way. Fantastic. So some more questions. We're going to kind of move on to some additional ones now. And these are a little bit of a mixed bag. So we've kind of followed a bit of a structure in this sense, but from now on, these are a bit of a mixed bag. So we've got some random questions. I think what we might do is mix it up and actually go the other way. So we will go Robert, Sri, then Brandon, if you're happy with that new order. So my first question is, what do you think motivates students? So this could be particular to your university, or it could be actually what motivates you when you get up and you look on Unibuddy. What's the point? Why are you doing it?
I think one of the things for universities is just like beyond the curriculum, have things that are like awesome. Student life is really important, where you're living. So on Unibuddy, a lot of people care about like, what is there to do near Glasgow? What different halls are there in Glasgow? I think that's probably one of my most common questions. What do you think about all the different halls? So I think just have a good, and then careers as well, obviously, for those people who are really switched on from the get-go. And just making sure that at university you have avenues for people to learn a lot about all those different things.
What motivates me is that when I was a prospective student, I really wanted to talk to someone, a current student of the university. I didn't get that opportunity, but now through Unibuddy, prospective students are getting that opportunity, and I'm the current student. So I really like having conversation with prospective students, telling them that everything's okay here, you don't have to worry about anything. And also one other thing is that once we help them in anything, be it university interview or any other information, they are very grateful. The gratitude that they show just fills my heart. So that is what motivates me, and I just every day I wake up, I go and check if I'm getting any new messages. So yeah.
So I think in terms of what motivates me, just being able to know that the advice that I'm giving is sort of like, it doesn't necessarily have to be listened to, but at least it's being sort of appreciated. Like, for example, if someone asks a question, you would expect that they would appreciate whatever answer you can give, whether it's sort of good news or bad news. So I think that, but I think obviously what would probably motivate the students is, again, I think Sri sort of mentioned it before in terms of having that, because it's a student talking to a prospective student, they're more likely to maybe ask you more questions, or they might feel less sort of awkward to ask you the questions, as opposed to if it was like, I don't know, a senior member of their team, that they might be like, actually, I want to ask questions about, I don't know, the finances or questions about opportunities, but I don't know where to start. And I think, again, similar to what Robert says, I feel like I'm just echoing what everyone said, but just, yeah, obviously letting them know of the opportunities, because obviously they are contacting you as you being the representative of University X. So obviously they're maybe comparing different universities. So it's almost like you're trying to sell the university. It's like, it's nothing to do with sales, but you're trying to sort of say, these are the great opportunities we've got. If you have a question about, I don't know, expenses, or no, not expenses, what's it, student finance, we have this team you can go to. If you're looking for a part-time job, we have these teams you can go to. So obviously we can answer as many questions as we can, and then if not, then like everyone else again has basically said, signpost them to sort of the relevant places, and yeah, try and sell the university and obviously the local surrounding areas, and what's there for them.
Fantastic. So really answering the questions that they want the answers to, but might be a little bit embarrassed to ask someone senior. So I know, yeah, I think also Sri hit the point that actually this is something that I wish I personally had as well. When I joined university, nothing like this existed, and it would have been really nice to speak to somebody just to kind of calm my nerves a bit and say, what's the accommodation like? Is it near town? Do you feel safe? Things like that. Just even those simple questions that actually you wouldn't know unless you spoke directly to a student who'd experienced it. And that motivation of the fact you feel like you've got a purpose, you feel that what you're saying is valuable and that somebody is listening. And I mean, also Robert mentioned the opportunities, but also the opportunities available to you lot. You know, actually becoming a student ambassador often leads on to other things. So like, for instance, today hosting this session for the UCAS masterclass, and other opportunities tend to kind of come in tow. So I think that's always a nice thing as well, the fact that once you start doing one thing for your university, everything else seems to snowball and you end up you know, being massive advocates for your uni. So that's fantastic. And what type of questions have you received on UniBuddy? I'm sure, again, you probably received a mixed bag of questions. And I think, Robert, you kind of touched upon some of these already, but maybe what kind of questions you've received on UniBuddy, maybe some of the craziest questions you've received on UniBuddy. I'd be eager to hear. Obviously, keep it PC.
I think I'll follow on from what I mentioned last time about a lot of people asking about halls and student life. I think there's just those sorts of questions like which halls are the most sociable. You can't really ask the admissions team because, well, they probably do know, to be fair, but you can give them your like specific experience of that. And then more academically, info about like the courses that you study. A lot of people are like, oh, do you enjoy your course? I'm thinking about applying for it. I don't know if I should apply for that course or if I should apply for another course. Luckily for me, I can almost sort of dodge the question because Glasgow lets you do like 2 or 3 courses in first year. So that's lucky for me. In terms of crazy questions, sometimes I hear questions about, I'm obviously second year, people are asking me like, oh, how do you apply for like your 3rd year internships? And I'm like, I'm only just starting to do that. You got a few more years before you need to be too concerned about that. But yeah, I think that's probably the craziest question for me.
Yeah, there are many questions they ask about accommodation, about courses, about the fee structure and everything. And it's all general questions usually. And when there are questions specific to a particular course, which I don't know about, I just, send them a link of the course and that's it. That's the end. Coming to the crazy questions, a student asked me, actually, how far is the university from the train station? Like, he literally wanted me to tell him the miles or the steps. So yeah, and the student asked me for the menu at the university restaurant and stuff like that. So it's fun actually.
See, I don't think I've had any weird messages. I mean, I haven't been on my account since, I don't know, last year, 2 years, last year, 2 years ago, I can't remember when. But I think, yeah, again, similar to everyone else, it was just messages to do with like accommodation, and I didn't get asked about the menu. I would have probably asked about that if I could. Yeah, I think probably one of the only things was like, I don't know, can we follow you on social media or something like that? Like, and obviously that was sort of, I mean, obviously I don't mind people following me, but with this specific type of thing, I would sort of go, unfortunately, this is the only way we can communicate. And again, I remember one, I don't know, I think it was a girl. I think she sort of said she was studying a particular course, and she was like, oh, so in my second year, when I do the module about da 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 da, and I'm like, unfortunately, I'm gonna just have to stop you there because I think you can see people typing as well. So I was there, like, she'd already sent me 3 paragraphs about a law degree, and obviously I did media. So, and I was just like, right, just before you send another paragraph, I unfortunately can't help you. And again, like Sheree said, sending a link to the course, or again, just using the UniBuddy group that we already had and just sort of going, I've got a girl that's studying this course in second year. Does anybody know about the course, or does anybody know anybody that knows? So again, it's almost like we can also help ourselves, if that's sort of a thing. So we're not only helping the students, but we can also get help rather than having to go on the website or having to ask someone senior to make sure we obviously don't embarrass ourselves. But again, we then get helped, and then we can also then re-help the students who can then help future students when they become UniBuddy ambassadors. So it's sort of like it's like a trail of help. Yeah.
Almost like a cycle. Yeah. So you're kind of helping them, they end up becoming ambassadors when they join, and then that's nice to think of it quite cyclical in that way. I like, somebody asks you specific questions and you're just like, I don't do your course, so I don't know the answer. That's a perfect example of when to redirect and say, actually, do you know what, this person does law, and they'll probably be able to tell you what to do on that specific module. And I like, Robert, that you had a variety of experience there in your first year, being able to actually probably answer lots of questions about different courses. So maybe if somebody did ask you a question about a course you're not on right now, then you would know because you've already done that. But fantastic. I like, the step counting to the train station, I think might take a little while. It's pretty involved, that question. That's fantastic. What I am actually going to do is I'm going to have a look on the chat from our session, because some people are asking questions on there. So rather than kind of go through, we have got some other questions prepared. So if we run out of questions on the chat, we can revisit those. But I'm just aware that we've got around 10 minutes left on our session. So I'm just going to answer any burning questions I can see on the live chat there. So just having a look. I wanted to ask if many international students use UniBuddy. So maybe let me know kind of your experience from talking about international students. If we go again, starting Robert and around, if you want to pass the question, you can say pass, but they're interested to hear about your experience talking to international students.
For me, yeah, there's like a massive number of international students, if not more international students than domestic or UK students. They probably have some of the more complicated questions in terms of grade requirements. They're probably the ones where I can't really just check the website and say, yeah, the requirements 4 A's and a B or whatever. I sort of have to say you're probably best to talk with the admissions team, because they know a lot about all the different ones across the world.
Yeah, Robert answered it. That's it. Many international students asking about particular visa questions or any entry requirements questions. I just redirect them to the admissions team if I'm not able to answer them.
Yeah, I think I only actually had one person in England. Every single one of my other people were from obviously everywhere else. So people from Italy, Spain. I think I had a girl from Russia, a couple of people from India. So I think, yeah, just anywhere but England, you're more likely to get people from. But again, like Robert and everyone's basically just said, if you can help, if it's sort of simple questions, then answer. And then if not, there's always someone there that can sort of answer the question. Again, just being able to just signpost to people. So yeah.
That's the beauty of it being virtual, really, isn't it? That the fact you can connect with people all around the world. And I guess also that expectation you get back within 24 hours means that you can even talk to people in different time zones. Obviously, it might be a while until you get back. You're not going to get back on the dot if it's 2 a.m. for you and it's 5 p.m. for somebody else. But actually being able to have those conversations that you might not actually be able to have in real life due to distance and due to those different countries. Another question that somebody's asked here is, do you think blogging and vlogging are useful tools for UniBuddy, and do you get many inquiries from them? So do people kind of approach you and say, oh, I read your blog, I want to talk to you about this, or just generally, how do you find blogging and vlogging? Have you used it personally? Or yeah, so Robert, take it away.
I've used the blog feature. I've never actually posted a vlog, but I think that'd be quite a fun thing to do. I've never actually directly had any inquiries from, like, no one's been like, oh, I've seen your post about Loch Lomond and the Trossachs, can you tell me a little bit more? Except I tend to get like a lot more people contacting me after I posted a blog. I think it must just be because I put my like name out there, so people are just clicking on me from there or something. But yeah, I definitely think it increases the number of people that you get contacting you, but not necessarily about, say, what the blog was. Maybe people are just like, oh, this guy seems like he knows a lot about student life, so I'll ask him some questions.
So the blog feature has come in recently, so I haven't used it yet. I will after this.
Yeah, I think the same as me. I've not obviously used the blog feature. I don't think there's a vlog feature yet. I think it's sort of coming. I don't know. But in terms of just as a student ambassador, I was and I have been known for like writing blogs and making videos about my sort of student experience, primarily just for me to make memories, but also if people stumble across it, it's a way of showing different people the same thing instead of me having to keep repeating myself. So just have a look at this link. So I know my fresher video has nearly like 4,000 views now. So that could just be people anywhere around the world who just want to find out what life is like studying at a university in England or anywhere else. So I think, yeah, blogs and vlogs, I think they're good ideas. And I think obviously for people that are not really comfortable in front of the camera, they can write about it, or those that maybe they find it difficult to write, again, they can use the video. So it's sort of, there are pros if there are cons for either or. So I would say, yeah, blogging and vlogging is a good idea as a uni buddy to do, but also if you just wanted to sort of share opinions, views, And yeah, hope that people and prospective students stumble across that and see your content.
So with vlogging, the way it works at the moment is you have to upload it to YouTube, and then you paste the link into the blog, and then it uploads your vlog onto the Unibuddy platform. But yeah, so it seems like actually 2 of your universities don't really use the blogging feature, and that's fine. They use it more for those one-to-one chats or maybe those group circumstances. But it's also interesting to hear that University of Glasgow obviously are using that blogging feature, and to see actually that people are engaging with you because they see your name and they think, yeah, that guy knows what he's talking about, I'll talk to him. So I think that's really interesting, actually, that they might not actually be approaching you about specifically what you're writing about in that blog, but actually just seeing your face and a name, that's why they approach you and they decide actually you're the person to talk to. It's interesting also, just as somebody mentioned about blogging and vlogging, but also about content generally. So talking about like social media and things, again, feel free to, if you haven't done this, and please be honest and say, you know, pass, I haven't really done this, but are you aware, or have you been involved with any of your universities doing maybe like Instagram takeovers, maybe TikTok campaigns? Has this been anything that you've been involved with or are aware that your university does? Robert?
I'm aware that the university does it, and I think some of the stuff that they have on TikTok is pretty funny or like out there, but unfortunately I haven't been involved in any of it myself, sorry.
We actually had a campaign called We Are Together. This was initially when everything shifted online during the first few months of the pandemic. So there we made few videos on Instagram. We posted few blogs on QS website. So I think that's how we've spread our information about Unibuddy.
Yeah, so again, in terms of the content, I haven't been involved with the sort of TikTok-y stuff. I'm not really a TikTok user, but I know for the for some of the student union campaigns, they were using that to sort of promote their campaigns as to why they should be voted in as like the student representatives. And in terms of Instagram, yeah, that's something that I jumped on, and a couple of other students, again, doing my some of them doing my course and some of them doing like random courses, sort of doing like day in the life of a student studying X. I think there was a couple of first year students that were getting involved with that. I think I did it while I was in second year and during the during one of the lockdowns. So I think, yeah, it's definitely a way to engage with students, and it's definitely, like I said before, it's sort of obviously as the younger generations sort of utilizing that social media, obviously having your personal stuff, but also if you want to sort of share your voice, or if you don't sort of feel your voice is being heard, sort of using that platform. And I'm not going to mention her name, but I know one of my friends, she is very vocal about being an international student, about obviously she's part of yeah, she's an international student, she's part of the LGBTQ plus community, and also she's very involved with politics. So it's sort of, she's trying to raise awareness about all of those different things. And obviously now she's getting involved with different campaigns and messaging and emailing people, and obviously using social media. So yeah, it's obviously, it's good to post pictures of you on holiday, but obviously while we can't do that, it's also good to utilize, to network, to connect, to sort of, again, share experiences, and give live updates of what people are doing currently.
Fantastic. So actually your generation, you would say, for a generation, Lee, that actually social media is used kind of as a voice to talk about maybe your own political views, and actually campaigns and things that are really important to you. And actually universities could utilize that if they've got particular values, particular values that they want to express or show off about the university, then absolutely using social media to showcase that. One last question, we need to answer it really quickly because we've only got 2 minutes left, but I thought this was a really good question. That's something that I think a lot of our attendees would get a lot out of is what can universities do to support ambassadors even more? So maybe something your university is already doing, but how can they ensure that they're supporting their ambassadors?
I think things just like the Facebook group to begin with make it really easy to communicate with people if you don't know how to answer questions, and don't just sort of leave you with nothing to say. And yeah, and then I think the team at Glasgow was very good at being like, oh, thank you so much, this was awesome. Just that like sort of reassuring feedback is really good too.
I think honestly, it's incentives. Paying a little bit for the work we are doing. I think that brings in many ambassadors. Compared to last year, we have many more this year. So, and also just posting us on the website saying we are representing the university. So even the current students who are studying in the university can also approach us. So we are actually the representatives, and we are being known for that. I think that's what is bringing in more ambassadors.
Yeah, I'll just echo exactly what Sri said about even the current students, if they are also wanting help, that again, it doesn't mean it's just for, I can't even say the word. It's not just for prospective students. It can also be for those that just might have a quick question or a quick query. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I was going to say something else, but I forgot what the question was, so I'm just going to pass that on.
No, fantastic. I think absolutely. So supporting student ambassadors can be through that incentivization, whether that incentivization is monetary, whether it's even just saying well done and thank you for your responses. I think just showing that they value your input and they value your responses. And that is time for us. I just realized it's 12:10. So thank you so much for your input today. I hope that's been valuable to our attendees at the event, but it's definitely been valuable to me. And it's been nice to just catch up with you all and hear about your experiences as student ambassadors. So thank you for becoming student ambassadors, and thank you so much for your time and your comments today. So thank you.